What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Flow video. This is Jacob Tucker, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to use switch statements on Flow and explain what they even are. So it's going to be a very short video. Let's dive right into it. So I actually am on the documentation right now describing what switch statements are and how to use them. And you can see that switch statements are basically, there's something that you can use to do different things depending on what the value of something else is. So that's a terrible explanation. But if we look at this switch statement, you can see that we're passing some, arbitrary integer into a function right here. And we're doing different actions depending on what the value of n is. So we switch, right? This is called a switch statement on the variable n. So if it's the case that n is 1, we return 1. If it's the case that n is 2, we return 2. You get the point, right? And then there's also a default option, which if the value of the variable is neither 1 or 2, which is, neither of any of the prior cases, we will return some other value. So that's sort of the point. It's pretty simple, but, it's worth going over anyway, just to know that, just to tell you all that it exists. So if we have a little contract here called test, we can actually do public function. Let's just say like, do stuff, right? I don't have a better name for it. And just to be a little different from the docs, we're not going to pass it an integer. We're going to pass it a name, which is a string. And so we're going to open up this function like so. Now, what we can do is we can make a switch statement. So we can switch on the name and do things depending on what the value of the name is. So if it is the case that name is Jacob, what we can do is we can log, Jacob is the best of all time, right? If it is the case that, if it's the case that the name is Sophia, then we can log, Sophia is also pretty cool, right? And then, we can make a default case that is, if it's not Jacob or Sophia, we can log, you are not cool at all. I don't know. So just some random stuff. So if we go ahead and we deploy this contract, we can go to a script, and I've already imported it here. And I'm just going to delete some of the stuff in here. And so what we can do is we can do test.doStuff, and we can pass in a name here. So let's try and pass in Jacob and see what happens, right? So let me refresh this page because the playground is pretty buggy. But if we go ahead and execute this function, you're going to see it logs Jacob is the best of all time, right? Because inside of our contract, it went to the switch statement based on the name, and it said the case is that it's Jacob, so we log Jacob is the best of all time. And if we were to also log, Sophia, it will log, if we execute this function, it will log, oh, well, it's being buggy again. God, we gotta love the playground. So it logs Sophia is also pretty cool. And then if we, if we type in dinosaur here, I don't know why. Is that even how you spell dinosaur? I have no idea, but I just thought of it. So we execute, it says you are not cool at all. And that's because inside the switch statement, that is the default option. So very short video. Hope this was helpful. I also wanted to show you like a real life example of a switch statement. So inside the metadata standard, which I'm sure all of you are aware of, the metadata standard has this function called public function resolve view. So this is, I'll actually put the link in the description if you want to view this at all. But you can see that the metadata standard uses a switch statement depending on the type of the view that you're passing in. So if you're passing in like a metadata views.display type, for example, it will say, okay, is it the case that the type is metadata views.display? If so, it will return a display struct here. So this is a little bit more into the weeds, but you can see that switch statement is being used in a real life example, it's quite recent because the metadata standard was just actually deployed. So it's pretty cool, pretty helpful. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.